I don't know if you're familiar with Billboard Chris.
No.
He walks around with billboards,
Oh,
and
yes, I've seen.
he's Canadian, and
Yeah.
he's speaking up against giving kids hormone replacement therapy, right? Or what's it called? Puberty blockers or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you see? And how old were you when you transitioned?
Yeah, I was in my 30s,
30s. Okay.
31. I waited most of my life to transition because I just knew it would break my mom's heart.
This episode is brought to you by our Revo Report Patreon. Join our community to get first access to interviews, Bible study guides, devotionals, and prayer books for adults, youth, families, and marriages. Plus, resources on Christian living, leadership, sermon prep, exclusive Q&As, online Bible studies, and even one-on-one coaching or counseling. Visit patreon.com/Vince Revo and grow in faith and truth with us.
Yeah, I was in my 30s, 31. I waited most of my life to transition because I just knew it would break my mom's heart. And so, deciding that I'm not going to live for anyone else, I ended up transitioning in my early 30s. And so I had met somebody who was a kid, maybe a preteen, when he shared with their parents that he was gender dysphoric and he wanted to transition, and their parents, not believing in Jesus or living a Christian life, they just went with it. And he went on hormone blockers and was on testosterone. And when I saw that person's life, I was like, man, could you imagine if I would have transitioned back then, like all the pain and everything that I experienced leading up to my transition. But I realized how harmful and dangerous that was. Looking back on it, he didn't get to experience his, preteens and adulthood or young adulthood as the gender he was created to be. And it broke my heart. It was like, I don't know if we're supposed to ever experience that. We're not. And so he never went through puberty as a male. And so, it was just, at first I was like, yes, when I was living as a transgender person, but then looking back, I could see the harm. And I have friends that speak out about, putting kids on hormone blockers and the harm that it does. Like I don't think we can see or understand right now how much this will affect a child and a teen.
Right.
There are, physical, emotional, mental things that we're, by giving hormone blockers or hormones or surgeries to young kids, the percentage of them wanting to be their opposite sex in their teens or early adulthood, is crazy, because a lot of times you'll grow out of it. And it's okay to be a tomboy and like, what we call boy toys or girl toys. Those things are okay. And so I see a lot of harm in it. And as Christians, I do believe that we need to stand up for our children and fight for them.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you see are, you mentioned that you see how dangerous that is. And some who are speaking up against it. What are the dangers of transitioning, not just for a 30-year-old, but like you said, someone who's a preteen who might not ever experience going through puberty or that they're supposed to go through. What are some of those dangers that you can think of?
Yeah, I'm definitely not a doctor or a psychologist or psychiatrist or anything like that. So I'll just give you what I've known and learned over the 8 years of detransition. So when we look at hormone blockers, a lot of times what it does is it stops the hormone. So when we're growing as teenagers and young kids, our bone growth is affected by hormone blockers. We can become sterile and not be able to have children at such a young age to make that decision. And then what if you
Hmm.
regret it later on and you can't have children? There's
Yeah.
many, like even our brain isn't fully grown before
Mm.
we turn a certain age. And so like really young kids, another thing
Yeah.
affecting is that they might feel a certain way, get on hormones, either testosterone or estrogen, have some surgeries, and then later realize the regret as
Mm.
they grow, that they actually never wanted to transition. But a lot of times it's the pressure of culture, it's the pressure of doctors, it's the pressure of even parents sometimes will be like, no, I want my kids to transition so that they don't feel this. A real bad thing that's happening is, doctors and psychiatrists and, the medical field are warning parents, like, would you rather
Mm.
have a dead child or
Yeah.
a trans child? And I know someone personally who speaks out publicly about this. She didn't know, but in her teens, she transitioned. She was struggling with her gender, but always, yeah, felt kind of female, but also felt kind of, and parents like that. What else did her parents have to choose? They wanted, obviously, a living child. And so we
Mm.
need to realize that those are lies. Our
Mm.
children, yes, wrestling with, and I don't talk a lot about suicidology
Mm.
or children that are suicidal.
Mm.
However, it is a reality that living in a broken world, and especially what is inundating our children now, and we're stuck to technology. We're more isolated than we ever have been. Our mental health is worse than it's ever been.
Mm.
There are going to be times where even if you're not transgender, you might be thinking negative thoughts about yourself. And then how do we
Right.
walk alongside our children with just so much love and compassion, and walk through it with them instead of turning to things that sometimes are irreversible?
Yeah. Yeah. What would you say to someone? Let's say somebody was watching this, and let's say they got this far, and they're struggling, and they're looking at other people maybe on TikTok or Instagram or have you, and going through surgeries, and they're thinking, then I'll be fully fulfilled. Then I'll I'll be who I really am, and I can fully identify as that. Like you said, this is the pinnacle. This is the Mount Everest of now I will be happy. Now I will be satisfied. Now I will truly be fulfilled. Um, if I can finally go through that surgery, or if I get this chest off me, or whatever it is. And what would you say to somebody younger going through that? Maybe not even younger, maybe also in their 30s or 40s or 20s, whatever, and thinking, okay, then I'm going to be satisfied. Then I'm going to be happy, having gone through what you went through.
It's so complicated when we're engaging with people that are wrestling and struggling with these kind of things. Our sexuality is so wrapped up in
Hmm.
who we believe we are and how we feel, and so when something feels so uh, difficult to cope with, that you literally, we use the word like, feel like you're born in the wrong body.
Hmm.
That's a pretty desperate place to be, and it's a pretty hard place to be.